You ever stand in your own driveway, hear the people supposed to protect your home, whisper about burying you literally under fines until you lose everything? Because that's what happened to me. I'm talking about the HOA, the folks who claim to keep your neighborhood nice. Turns out nice is just code for we own you if we can get away with it. Look, I'm no stranger to paperwork or property lines. 30 years as a surveyor, believe me, I know my way around a deed. But nothing, and I mean nothing, prepared me for the circus that started the day my wife Linda and I moved into Willowbrook Estates. We'd worked our whole lives for that house, sold the family business, paid cash, and thought we'd found our spot to grow old without a single soul telling us what to do with our own patch of dirt. Big mistake thinking peace is ever that simple. Linda's dream was a veggie garden, mine was a workshop. Finally, a place to build without someone breathing down my neck about costs and deadlines. First 6 months. Perfect. Smelled like fresh coffee and sawdust every morning. Quiet afternoons, neighbors waving. The biggest argument on our street was about whose tomatoes were bigger, Linda's or Mrs. Patterson's. Then she arrived, Vivian. Picture a real estate catalog come to life. Perfect hair white, BMW clipboard like an extra limb. We work very hard to maintain property values, she said, flashing a smile that could cut glass. I should have run for the hills right then. 2 weeks after her welcome, I get a letter $150 fine for my workshop. Aesthetic violation, she called it. Next week, it's Linda's tomatoes. Apparently growing your own food is some kind of visual assault. After that, a neighbor buys one of my tables. Suddenly, I'm running Amazon from my garage. Each letter another fine. My wife, who handled 30 years of teenagers without breaking a sweat, started jumping every time the mailbox rattled. But I paid those first fines. Big mistake. That's like bleeding in shark-infested water. The real kicker, I found out Vivian's little kingdom was more like her personal cash cow. People who couldn't keep up with the fake violations and stacked fees, they'd sell out in a panic. Guess who'd swoop in with an offer? Yep, the same board flipping houses for profit. I knew what they were doing, but I couldn't prove a thing until the county sent a guy named Rodriguez to check out my illegal workshop. I showed him everything, permits, insurance, the works. He leaned in, voice low. Same person calls every week. We've got real problems to handle, not this. I could have hugged him. That night, I started digging into Vivian's own paperwork. Wouldn't you know it, her fancy back deck was built with exactly 0 permits. The day the county came to inspect her place, I watered my lawn real slow, enjoyed the view as she lost her composure right there on the front porch. Rodriguez called me after. Deck's got to come down or she has to get proper permits. That was a good day. But Vivian doesn't lose easy. 2 days later, emergency HOA meeting. New rule, all workshops must be hidden behind $5,000 worth of approved fencing. Funny mine was the only one visible from the street. But see, I know the law. I stood up and let her know, calm as can be. Your new rule can't touch structures built before today unless you want a real lawsuit. She went pale as a ghost. And the pressure just kept building. Mrs. Patterson caught some guy taking pictures of my house at midnight. I put up security cameras. Next night, caught Vivian's assistant sneaking around with a tape measure. They wanted a war, now they had one. Vivian brought in a surveyor, her old business partner. Claimed my fence was 2 feet over the line, tried to hit me with a $10,000 fine. But I still had my old survey gear. I spent the next morning marking out every inch. The fence 3 feet inside my line, not over. But what I found, oh man, it was beautiful. Their precious clubhouse built 3 feet onto my land. Parking lot, too. 5 years every HOA meeting, every glass of wine held on stolen property. I checked the law, they owed me commercial rent. By my math, $120,000. The notice I delivered to Vivian's office was pure poetry demand for back rent survey maps, the works. I heard her yelling through the door as I left. Did she back down? No, she doubled down. Daily violation notices for things like grass too long and garden hose unsightly. She called another meeting, threatened to hit every resident with expensive architectural reviews. Problem was, folks were getting wise to her games. Suddenly, people I barely knew started sharing their own stories. Vivian had made herself the enemy of half the neighborhood. Then came the anonymous flyers. Wild stories claiming I was destroying property values, running an illegal business, all of it. My wife Linda, the quiet teacher, went full Sherlock Holmes. Compared the flyers to Vivian's real estate ads, same paper, same font, same printer marks. That woman doesn't miss a thing. Linda didn't just get mad. She got busy. Next thing I know, she's got the kitchen table covered in shredded meeting minutes she fished out of Vivian's trash. Taped them all back together like a jigsaw puzzle. 8 months of notes, target lists, financial projections, my name at the top. Priority 1, force foreclosure, sell to a developer for a fat profit. Our misery, their payday. But there was more proof. They'd always known the clubhouse was over the line, proof of kickbacks, secret amendments to the rules. Everything they'd done, every threat, every fine, they had no legal ground at all. That's when I brought in Bob from down the street, corporate attorney specialized in HOA law. When he saw what we had, he just grinned. They documented every crime and saved the receipts. He set up our war room in his basement, whiteboards, legal precedents, timelines. We built the case piece by piece. I marked out the property line, Linda organized the evidence, Mrs. Patterson brought snickerdoodles and surveillance notes. The plan let Vivian keep digging while we gathered enough to crush her in court. I set surveyors' stakes so precise even NASA would be jealous. Bob calculated the damages, almost $130,000 in rent and penalties. We rallied, the neighbors got statements, shared what we'd found. Vivian tried to out-crazy us. Hired a private investigator to camp outside our house. Filed noise complaints during Linda's chemo appointments. Yeah, she found out about that somehow. Used Linda's cancer treatments to try and hit us when she knew I wouldn't be home. That was the lowest point, felt like getting punched in the gut by someone you trusted to play fair. But Linda, bless her, kept fighting. The evidence pile grew. When Bob saw it all laid out, proof of fraud, conspiracy, everything, he said, "We're not just going to stop them. We're going to make sure no one ever tries this again." Then Vivian got sloppy. Sent a guy to inspect for a gas leak, really her boyfriend trying to tamper with my electrical panel. My cameras caught it all. Next, the board tried to buy me out for 20% under market in exchange for dropping my complaint. Jokes on them, I recorded every word. Last straw. She filed a false police report, said I threatened her. The sheriff took one look at my security footage, heard my side, and you could see it in his eyes. He knew exactly who the real problem was. The neighborhood turned. At the next HOA meeting, the place was packed. Residents, local press, even the sheriff. I got up, laid out the evidence, maps, photos, every bit. Told them, you're sitting in a building that doesn't belong to your HOA. Never did. Bob read the meeting minutes. When he finished, the crowd exploded, people shouting, calling for a vote to remove the board. Vivian tried to shout them down, but it was over. Deputy Martinez stepped in, said, "Ma'am, you might want to save your statements for your attorney." That applause as she left, I could still hear it when I went to bed that night. Within 2 weeks, new board elected. Vivian vanished, sold her house, gone. Settlement, $85,000, formal apology. Half to legal fees, half to cancer research. Linda started getting better. Funny, isn't it, how removing one toxic person can actually make you healthier? We used the rest to set up a community fund, help the older folks with repairs and real issues, not fake fines. People started helping each other again. Our house became the workshop for the whole neighborhood. But here's what matters. This fight changed more than one street. State lawmakers used our story to pass real protections. I got to help other families stand up to bullies, learn that justice isn't just about money. It's about not letting the worst people win by default. You might be wondering, was it worth it? Every headache, every sleepless night? Yeah. Because in the end, sometimes the best revenge is just holding your ground. Let them dig their own grave while you document every single shovelful. That's how you beat a bully. Now let me ask you, if your HOA, your boss, your neighbor ever tried to run you out, did you fight or fold? Ever see someone destroy themselves just because they couldn't leave well enough alone? Drop your story below. Let's hear how you handled it. Sometimes the best way to win is to outlast the storm and keep every receipt.